All right, grade 12s, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that short break. As I've mentioned earlier on, this time around we will focus more now on the mathematics. Now, what you currently see is conversions and calculations involving units of length and distance. So that will be our first focus point. Now, let me give you a bit of background shortly. Right, so the definitions of length and distance. So normally we'll say length is the measurement of an object from the one end to the other, right, in one dimension. Normally, when we teach, we say that's the longest dimension. For example, if you think of a rugby field, the length of a rugby field will be more or less 100 to 110 meters. Now we look at distance. Distance is the physical length between 2 points. That is, for example, if you think about Cape Town and Johannesburg, right, that's approximately 1,398 kilometers as the crow flies. So what do we mean by as the crow flies? When we measure on a map from the one point to the next point. What else is important? The basic unit of length is meters. Obviously, we know we have other units as well, such as your kilometers, centimeters, millimeters, and so forth. Grade 12, moving forward, measuring length and distance. Now, as a rule of thumb, right, we will estimate. So if I, for example, take one large step, I will say that is 1 meter. Or if I, from the tip of my nose to the outstretch of my arm, for example, that is also seen as 1 meter. Then we, of course, have accurate measuring instruments that we can use. And that will be, for example, a ruler, measuring tape, odometer, and so forth. Now, I want you to focus on what I'm about to tell you now, right? I know this is a section of work where it's in grade 10, grade 11, or 12 that our learners normally hate because they get confused. All right, so the general method when we deal with this topic is that when I convert, right, if I convert from a big unit to a smaller unit, I will multiply. I'll explain more about that. I just want you to get the idea. So when I convert from a big unit into a smaller unit, I'll multiply with the conversion factor, right? So for example, think about it this way. If you want to make something more, if I take 5 times 2, what happens with the answer? The answer is bigger now, right? It's no longer 5 or 2, but it's 10. That's the same concept we're going to follow here. What else is important? When we convert from a small unit into a bigger unit, we divide. Inverse operation, right? So multiply and division. So that is the stuff we'll be looking at, but I'll allude more on that. Okay, so what are we saying? Let's quickly look at this. So basically kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeters, right? So if you look at this, I arrange these distances, basically the length from big to small. So what did we say is the rule here? When we convert from big to small, we will multiply. Then if you look at the bottom, millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers. This time around, I arrange it from small to big. So what happens from small to big? We will divide. Okay, so we'll get to more practical use of it. I want you to understand, first of all, why is it important. So now we'll be looking at the conversion factors. So here I have kilometers to meters, again, big to small, right? Now if I look, the conversion factor will be 1,000. Moving on to the next one, I'm moving from meters to centimeters. Here I'll be looking at 100, and I want you to think of a century, for example. Century equals 100 years, right? Okay, then we'll be looking at centimeters to millimeters. As I've explained earlier on, in terms of a ruler, that will be 10. Okay, so there we have an idea. Now that is from big to small. What will happen if we work from small to big? Millimeters definitely smaller than centimeters, right? Conversion factor in this case will be 10. Then centimeters smaller than meters. Conversion factor 100. And then lastly, meters to kilometers, conversion factor will be 1,000. I want you to note that these are the same things that I'm referring to. What is the only difference? On top, I work from big to small, hence I've multiplied. And then at the bottom, I work from small to big, hence we have the division sign there. I hope this all in all is making sense. Now, if you have followed you'll understand more once we're going to put this into practice. Now, what you currently see is an example, right? So I'm saying convert the following. Now, let's see what we have to convert. I want you to convert 5 meters into millimeters. Now, let's move to our right-hand side. So I have meters, and I must convert that to millimeters. So first question, meters, is it bigger or smaller than millimeters? We said it's bigger, right? So what will need to happen now? I have to multiply. So I can multiply by 100 and then by 10. So that can be the first one. I'll say 5 multiply by 100 multiply by 10, right? Or if you look at this as well, I can also say 5 times 1,000. How did I get to 1,000? Remember, 1 times 1 equals 1, and then I add the 3 zeros. So in this case, the answer will be 5,000 millimeters. All right. Looking at the next sum, I said 8,7 centimeters into millimeters. So here we have to convert 8,7 centimeters into millimeters. Question number 1, big to small, small to big. Centimeters definitely bigger than millimeters. So therefore, if I go here, I'll have to multiply. So I find centimeters. There we go. Right, I have to convert to millimeters. I multiply by 10. So therefore, I'm going to say 8,7 centimeters multiply by 10. So in this case, if you don't have your calculator, there's 1 0 there. So I'm just going to move my decimal 1 space. So that will be 87 millimeters. So I hope I'm making sense. I've asked myself the simple questions, big to small, small to big. You know, at this moment in time, from big to small, I will multiply. And then from small to big, I will divide. Let's quickly look at what next we can see. So far, we are now done with the length and distance. Remember, we're just giving examples so that when we move on with this lesson, you will be able to apply those basic skills. Right, so now we will be looking at conversions and calculations for that matter involving units of mass. Right, so what is important here? Just a bit of background. Mass or weight, that's the amount of matter in an object. Then the basic unit of weight is kilogram. And we all know that we can use other units such as grams, milligrams, and so forth. All right, so again, estimation, that's a very useful everyday activity. For example, if you want to cook, you must know exactly the amount of salt that needs to be put in. Then also typical measuring instruments, that's your bathroom scale, kitchen scale, fruit, vegetable scales, and so on. Grade 12, same thing will apply here. Right, general rule says big to small, we multiply, and then small to big, we will divide by the conversion factor. Now, in terms of this, if you look here, if I look at this line, I started again big to small. So tons, kilograms, grams, and milligrams. Then milligrams, grams, kilograms, and tons. So this time around, it is from small to big. Now moving on, here, same thing, but what happens this time around? And I want you to note here, what is our conversion factor each time? Right? So in terms of mass and weight, what will I always refer to? 1,000. Right? So again, big to small, I will multiply, and then small to big, I will divide. Same principle apply. So let's quickly put that into context. Now I'm saying convert the following. Let's see what needs to be converted. I have 89,6 kilograms, and I must convert that to grams. Now look, I am at kilograms, I must move to grams. Right? Question 1, big to small or small to big? Kilograms definitely bigger than grams. So therefore, what will happen now? I will have to multiply that by 1,000. So therefore, I'm going to have 89,6 multiply by 1,000. Right? So therefore, if I type this in on my calculator, 89.6 multiply by 1,000. So that will give us an answer of 89,600. Or you could have moved your decimal 3 spaces to the right as well. Okay, grade 12, so let us quickly look at the second example. Here I have 5,009 milligrams, and I must convert that to grams. Right, so I go look at my conversion table here. I have milligrams, and I must convert that to grams. So here, I can divide by 10, and then divide by 100, or I can divide that by 1,000 straight away. So therefore, I'll say 5,009 divided by 1,000. So that will give us 5 grams. Okay, then looking at the third example, this time around I have 3,456 grams, and I must convert that to tons. So let's look. I have grams, and I must convert that to tons. Question number 1, big to small, small to big. Grams is smaller, so therefore I'll have to divide. So in this case, I'm going to say 3,456 grams divide by 1,000 divide by another 1,000, or for this method I can also say divide by a million, and that will give us an answer of 0,003456 tons. Okay, grade 12, so let us look at the second example. We are asking here which luggage suitcase is the heaviest. So here I have 2,16 kilograms, 0,00045 tons, and then 4,534 grams. Now you can decide in which unit you want to work. Now I decided I want to work in kilograms, so I'm going to leave A as 2,16 kilograms. B needs to convert, so I'm converting from tons to kilograms, so that is from big to small, right? So conversion factor will be 1,000, so I'll say 0,0045 multiplied by 1,000. So that will give me 0,45 kilograms. And then lastly, I have 4,534 grams, and I must convert this to kilograms. Remember, now I'm converting from small to big, and therefore I'm going to take this 4,534 and I divide that by 1,000. So that will give me 4,534 kilograms. So to answer this question, we ask which luggage suitcase is heaviest. So looking at this, that will definitely be number C, because it is 4,534 kilograms. Grade 12, so far we've done a few examples with you. Let's just quickly take a short break, and after the break we'll continue.